Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Maybe just half a minute more and we'll get started here. Okay, I think we can start. Okay, welcome to our Aquaculture Tech and Research Brown Bag. Just want to thank you for coming and also just go over a couple of announcements we have for today. First of all, the title of today's talk is Taking a Bite Out of Aquatic Feed Importation. And we have our speaker today, Ame Matsutomi. And oh, why am I not able to advance this? Sorry. Okay, so we are recording, as you probably know already. We will be posting this on our website, Hawaii Aquaculture Collaborative, in the actions page, along with a lot of our other talks. Wanted to give you guys a heads up about some upcoming workshops next week, I believe. Yeah, May 14th. Tori Spence McConnell is going to be hosting a NOAA Aquaculture listening session about various things that NOAA does related to aquaculture in the Pacific. So keep your eyes out for that. The QR code is here for the link and some information. Again, this will be posted, so you'll be able to find us on our website. And also, this is Jim Wyban's workshop coming up, webinar on the 12th of June from 12 to 1 about SBIR program and funding for aquaculture innovation. And with that, I would like to invite Ami to start her presentation. Welcome.
Thanks, Kai. Hey, everyone. Okay, hopefully I don't mess this up. I'm going to try sharing screen, and then hopefully it will go okay. Let me see, share screen, and then the audience window. Okay. Are you guys seeing the screen share?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, it is working. Great. All right. So as Kai said, my name is Ame. I know a lot of you. I've met you guys through the industry or other events. So my startup is called Ecoponics, which you may or may not know. So nice to meet you guys. Oh, advance. Come on, advance. All right. Well, of course, it had to have a hiccup. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So this is kind of like what our company focuses on. This is our mana'o or wisdom that we look at whenever we're considering a project. So Lokahi, Malama Aina, and Ahupua'a system, or, the constant cycling of the system that the ancient Hawaiians practice. And we kind of try and model that in the systems that we're trying to develop. Right. Let me this window over. Okay. So we've kind of broken it down into food farm waste or farm food waste. Sorry, that's our mantra, farm food waste. So Malama the Aina or Malama Aina is like how farming or in farming, we can try and develop processes that recapture some of the nutritional potential that's lost through food waste and use it for not only farming, but aquatic farming or aquaculture. So, it doesn't just get locked away underneath landfills that are inaccessible to the plants on the surface. So that's kind of how we try to malama aina. And then food, of course, in the position for, and this is the lokahi symbol, which is the interconnectivity between mind, body, and spirit. So, food, feed the mind, body, spirit. And then, of course, waste in the Ahupua'a system. There's no real waste. Technically, it's more like nutrients that are being carried from one part of the system to the next to make a continuous cycle. And we try to model that in the systems that we develop. So let's see how long it takes. Okay, not too bad, not too bad. Okay, so one of the markets that we originally took a look at was the soy market, because it's among the top 5 most produced crops out there for globally. And so we took a look at, like, farm is, of course, the soybean farming, which is very industrially intensive. It has a lot to do with stripping the land, but not just stripping it, but the continuation of chemical fertilizer and tilling and disrupting the natural cycle. So we're trying to hope for a better way to do that, to show more like an extensive process that can be made intensive through science or technology. And of course, the food products, so like tofu, and the waste products that come from producing foods like tofu or idofu or soy sauce, shoyu, all of those soy-based products have a type of waste, and that's usually a lot of the insoluble fibers of the soybean or other chemicals that the soybean contains that necessarily you don't want to end up in your food stream. So we took a look at the soy industry, and it's listed as number 5 currently, but it floats between, the top 3 to top 4, top 5. So it's floating around in there. But if you take a look at the chart, you'll see that 3/4 of it is composed of animal feed. So 3/4 of all the soybean we produce globally is ending up in animal feed that we then use those animals as our sources of protein, fats, and other nutrients. So poultry, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Ame. Are you advancing your slides? I think I still see the Mana'o one.
Oh no. Okay, so there is some disconnect between the 2 windows. Sorry about that. Okay, I just saw it advance. Do you guys now see soy industry?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry about this. I think it's a lag on the connection side on my internet to your guys' one. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you guys take a look at the slide in front of you now, you can see what I was talking about, how the disproportionate uses of the soybean that's grown globally. So only 20% or so is used for direct human food. So that's like your tofus, your shoyus, direct soybean like edamame and other food products. And then industrially, pharmacologically or biodiesel, fuel generation, nutrient stripping, those all are less than 4%. And this is a chart we got from World Data about a year ago. So by now it may have shifted minutely. So the compounded annual growth rate for the soy industry is approximated to go from about 250 billion in 2021 to about 375 billion by 2029. And with the population growth curve and its coincidence or relationship to our food industry, as we keep populating the earth and growing, there's not going to be really a slowdown in the need for this type of food or the animal crops that we use, that we raise with it. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. Hopefully it will show up for you guys. Okay, let me check which slide is showing for you guys. Okay. So this is a compositional analysis that we did of soy dregs, or the waste products from producing food products off of soybeans. So if you take a look, the biggest components are like protein at 25 to 28%, but nearly 50% are insoluble fibers in the form of cellulose, and very little carbohydrates, very little lipids. This is not from biofuel extraction, which has a different profile. So the various different products that you pull off of it, of course, will give a different compositional analysis for the leftovers. So this is particular to food generation and in specific tofu. Okay. All right, please go to the next slide. All right, it looks good. So these are two really important species of to the aquaculture industry here in Hawaii. One is the Leptopenaeus vanemi, or Pacific white-legged shrimp, and the other is the Macrobrachium rosenbergi, which used to be farmed here in the state for many decades after being introduced. But now I've been working through HDOA to try and get a permit to work with this species. And this is a species I worked with Dr. Maleka, Spencer Maleka, when he was at UH. And I took his classes for aquaculture, and I helped manage his lab and run lab projects back in 2013 and 2014. And this species was very, not overly dominant in the market, but it had a presence. I mean, Thomas Shiros was selling it. There were farms that are selling it. There's still a farm out in Kahuku that sells it, but it's very limited. And the HDOA, Todd, if you're in the audience, we would like to bring this species back because they have a certain body proportion from non-edible or non-digestible components to edible protein matter. And so that's the giant river prawn, or in particular, the Malaysian giant river prawn. So now as soy dregs, if you were to use it as like a food source for this target species like Leptopenaeus vanemi, and I'm going to advance to the next one. There are a number of studies out there, but this one I looked up. It was done in the 80s, I believe, and in particular, they were able to test to see what the digestive or the nutritional value of dietary fibers were for this species, like how well did they digest it and integrate it into their own cellular structure. And they found that cellulose, chitin, and diatomaceous sands were either poorly or not digested at all. And so if you look back towards
Sorry, Ame, I'm not sure if the slide is lagging or it didn't advance. Can you try again, please?
Yeah, how's it now?
Okay, now we have question and research.
Okay,
oh,
yeah.
Here it comes. Yes, thank you.
Sorry about the lag. I don't know why it's doing that. But so this is one of the slides that we looked at, like we investigated, like, you know, is there a need here? Like, can we use soy dregs as a direct feed product? Like, can we go incorporate it into pelletized aquatic feed and feed it directly to the shrimp? And will they benefit from ingesting it? And so this study, we found one of these studies, and it said, no, they don't really get any kind of like nutritional benefit, or very little nutritional benefit from it. And so this is like 40 to 43% the composition of the soy dregs from the food processes with soybean. And we were like, that's kind of a lot of loss, you know, when you're spending millions of dollars on feed and you're losing 40 to 43% efficacy. And that's a lot of loss. So that's why we looked at the other species, the Macrobrachium rosenbergi. Let me see if it's advancing. Okay. So we were able to track down what in specific the digestive enzymes that were active in the Leptopenaeus vanemi. And so protease, amylase, I think they have lipidase is in there as well. And so there are different activities going on, but they're lacking one major one that, I'll go to the next slide. Come on, presentation. All right, there it is. All right, so we found that the Malaysian prawn can digest and get nutritional benefit from the soy dregs. It was this study here that pointed towards that. And there's a really good reason for it. The reason is because there's enzymatic conversion for, let me just make sure, okay. There's enzymatic conversions that are happening in the gut of the organism. So both species have carbohydrates, proteins, fats that they can digest and convert. But what the giant river prawn has that the white-legged prawn does not have, okay, is the capability to dissolve or digest insoluble fiber using cellulase, an enzyme called cellulase, which breaks down the cellular structure into glucose components. And then, of course, they have the uptake capability to benefit from glucose, which functions as an energy derivative for them. And not derivative, sorry, primer. So taking into account that because they have cellulase in their digestive tract, the macrobrachium being a freshwater species and being one that can consume plant matter, they've evolutionarily kind of developed this capability. And so we were now looking at it like, okay, so if we look back at one of the previous studies, which is this one, if we add, this one's titled effects, let me make sure, okay. Effects of probiotics on the growth performance. Why did it switch then? Sorry about this, everyone.
Yeah, no, we're seeing it. We're seeing that title.
Okay. So by adding these probiotics to the feed stock, you can basically give the shrimp the capability to digest this food product, which is a solution, but then you have an additional cost on top of your feed pellet production in order to include these probiotics. So we were thinking further along, like, well, how else can we do this? And so that led us to this process. And let me just make sure. Okay. So there it goes again. What we're thinking about is pre-digestion or pre-introduction to the organism. So doing it before and outside the gut. Like, how can we do this? Can we do it in a lab? Can we control the reaction rate? Can we control the product? And so we came up with some research and we looked into the various different organisms out there that have a digestion capability of cellulase and can therefore transform a lot of the material within the soy dregs into a form that can be uptake by the shrimp. And so after a number of months, we succeeded and found several organisms that allow us to do that. But it also opened up another avenue that we were looking at. Not only could we do this with the soy dregs, but there we go. Okay. We also ended up doing it with a number of other nutritional components that we can raise locally. So one of our major focuses is to, do everything local, because if we can do it here in Hawaii, then we can not have to deal with importation tax or importation permits or that whole hassle. We can cut that out of the process. And so these are some of the things that we looked at locally that we could do. So moringa, both the leaves, the seeds, the flowers, their nutritional composition, that's azolla and lemna in the middle. We also have I'm going to mispronounce this, either astaxanthin or astaxin, and then spirulina. Those are some other, crops that are being produced locally. Sorry, Jean, go ahead. Was that you?
No, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So we were looking at like how can we compositionally combine all of these ingredients into one feed product that we could then use to enhance like Diamond Head's operation, where they're taking fish scraps and that's the protein source. And now we're going to add extra nutrients, and everything's done on the local level. So thereby cutting out importation. So we started doing a lot of like literature research, because that's my background. I was an engineer, a mechanical engineer at UH, but I also studied aquaculture and social justice or women's studies, and looked at the intersection of all of these topics. So I'm just gonna go fast through these because we don't need to. I mean, this is a Zola pinnata, so these are some of the benefits. This is a study that took a look at that, and everything is skewed towards Macrobrachium rosenbergi, or the Malaysian giant prawn, because we wanted to see, you know, what kind of local products can we produce that will benefit the life form. So this is a Zola pinnata, or duckweed, otherwise known as duckweed. Then we have, come on. This is Lemna SP. So this is another one. Then we have spirulina, which I'm raising here in the lab. You can see it behind me. It's the, oh no, it's blurred out, the dark green jars. We're growing it in the lab. So spirulina has a lot of nutrients and a lot of benefits as far as the Macrobrachium rosenbergi are concerned. They love it and it's good for them. We also have a stack. Oh, let's go back one. Astaxanthin or astaxanthin. Plenty of benefits. I'm just going to go through the rest before the. This is moringa is the next one. If you guys want to look at the particulars and look at which studies we were utilizing, the slideshow I'm sure Gene's going to have for you guys, so you can go back and look at these articles and then read through them. They all have some kind of nutritional benefit for the organism. Okay, I'll go to the next one. Okay, so this is another, and as Todd was talking about during his presentation, black soldier flies, or Hermetia eluciens. And Dr. Ortega, I see he's here, Armando. Dr. Ortega is working with black soldier flies. And during his presentation, he gave us the data point that about approximately 25% of the protein content in the Hermetia eluciens is utilized by different animal species. So I think he was working with tilapia at the time. I don't recall in particular, but we were able to test this product way back. I worked with a grad student in 2014 that did a study. His thesis was on the size improvement or the capability of digestion or digestibility by channel catfish using black soldier flies as the nutrient source. So we know that black soldier flies, they don't necessarily do bioconversion, and Dr. Ortega, please feel free to correct me, but they do biostorage. So everything they consume, they're storing within their bodies during the larval stages in order to do their transformation or metamorphosis during the pupae form. And that's the stage at which you can harvest them. The darker colored chitinous individuals here are those ones. But I think this is right before pre-pupae. But this is one way that we thought of, well, instead of making it into pellets, we could convert it into Hermetia eluciens. And then, so there are insectivore species of fish locally that will eat it. We've worked with Hawaiian sandavensis, or the hole hole locally. We grew them here at my location for 6 years, and we were using this as a primary feed component, and they did very well. Let me make sure. Okay, this is another one of our alternative applications. We also do produce microgreens, wheatgrass. This is a wheatgrass that we produce for pets locally. We were able to take the nutrients, turn it into a hydrogel, and then utilize that to grow crops. So taking the nutrients from the soy dregs and making it bioavailable to seeds and to plants. So there's an NPK potential there for plants. So we can turn it into organic fertilizer that's locally produced, not imported. And so we're getting really great results with this process where we can go from day 0 for implantation with germinated or sprouted seeds. And by day 3, it's already a harvestable product that we're taking to market, taking to a retail outlet locally. And then if they really want, we can go to day 7. And this is, so Alexia from Symbrosia, they're working on reducing bovine flatulence, well, the methane component of bovine flatulence. And this is a seaweed-based hydrogel. So we're able to, and please forgive me, I don't remember the name of that particular molecule that does the reduction of the formation of methane in cows, but live or feedstock, you can feed cows dry matter, and then you can also feed them wet matter or grasses. And so there's an industry out there which raises wheat seeds, barley seeds, oat seeds. They sprout them like you see in the day 7 example, and they feed that directly to cows, and that's considered wet matter. So there's, a hydration component to the feedstock. And so we're able to incorporate that red algae-based molecule into this plant so that the uptake by the cows is more natural and it's not something additive. Okay, got a couple more. Jean, how are we doing on time?
Doing okay. I think our session is till 12:45 today, but we can get to questions soon if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I've only got a few more slides. So, okay, I'll wrap it up real fast. This is alternative crops locally produced that we're looking at, and we're testing them in the same processes. So we got Okinawan sweet potato, avocados, cacao, papaya, ulu, which I have some really great results from, because ulu is composed about 80% to 80% of starches. So carbohydrate conversion is really high, and it also has a insoluble fiber structure, and we're getting conversion with that too. Coffee grounds is another great one, because once the coffee grounds have been boiled and you got your coffee, it's mostly thrown away, but we found a way to take that and break down, digest it, ferment it, and get another nutritional product that's bioavailable. Okay, this is one of the experiments that we ran. And so we're taking Okinawan sweet potato here that's been steamed or boiled. And we introduced the microorganism, we inoculated it, and by day 1, that's what it looked like. I have it right here behind me. I can show you what it looks like on day 2. This was just this past Monday. And within 24 hours, we had total coverage, basically. It's a very aggressive organism, and it's a great process, but you have to have the right environment to do it in. All right, that's my presentation, everyone. Thank you for listening. How do I stop sharing?
Yeah, please. Thanks. I mean, that was great. We would just open it up for questions. Anybody have any questions from me? Check the chat has something.
Have you looked at the economics of this as far as, can you actually produce a product that is low enough in price that it can be used as animal feed?
Great question. Thank you, Fred. And yes, we've done the economics. Well, there's 4 of us in my startup, and Thibault Moyne, he's kind of our business lead, and so I basically rely on him for all of the analysis. But so far, he's given me the green light. It looks good, because we're taking a waste product, a bioorganic waste product that would just be thrown away or need to be treated in some way in order to be wasted. And so the costs are minimal and the conversion is minimal, because I'm growing the organisms locally in a controlled environment, and it's readily available. So yeah, the upfront costs are minimal.
But and the cost of the material itself may be minimal, but
Right.
you still have to collect it from various sources and transport it to wherever you're transforming it. So
That is
that's a
correct.
significant cost.
Yeah, and so we're looking at different models. So like conversion on site for where we would pick it up from. And then of course, so in this one example, the soy dregs that we're working with, we can do the conversion at the factory where it's being produced. And the person or the company that's usually picking it up in its raw form and utilizing it for their animal feed, they're picking it up at that location. So to us, there wouldn't be an increase in cost. So it's all based on locality. But yeah, transportation still remains an issue. We are able to dehydrate the product and then rehydrate it. So when I dehydrate it, we've come under 10% of the initial weight. So we can greatly reduce it and then hydrate it back at wherever the location is to reincorporate it into pelletized feed.
Well, that's really interesting. Thanks, Fred, for the question. And there was a comment in the chat I just want to get to really quickly from Anthony Mao. He's saying he's super interested in learning more about your algae gel applications, and he is the largest producer of microgreens in Hawaii and always looking to experiment with alternative mediums. So please reach out to him if you're interested.
Yeah, hi Anthony from Kupu Place. I'm
From
very
Kupu
familiar
Place.
with your company. I follow you on Instagram, so I like what you guys are doing.
Awesome. And it looks like Jim has a question here.
Yeah.
Hi,
Thanks,
Jim.
you guy. Good show, Ame. Getting back to the issue of the soy dregs or okara. Back in the day when we were had a Hawaiian fish pond, we used to collect that from Mrs. Chang's tofu factory and feed it to the mullet. And the mullet loved it. So there might be some linkage between what you guys are doing and fish pond people when they reached the stage of actually starting to grow mullet in all those fish ponds. They're going to need local food if they don't mind. That's a very interesting input for a mullet. So
Thank you, Jim. I believe you were partnered with Dr. Maleko. Was it you? I forget who started the show.
no, we were never partners. No.
But yes, thank you. For
I know Spencer. Yeah, quite well. Thanks.
Thank you.
I worked in shrimp with white shrimp, not macrobrachium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I worked on shrimp. Yeah. But before that, I had a fish pond in Haleiwa, and that's where we did a lot of work with mullet, striped mullet in the fish pond. And okara they really loved it. You know, we'd spread it on the surface of the pond.
Right.
And they would come and eat it all. So, and I suspect, I don't know if they have that cellulase capability, but I suspect they do because they eat seaweeds in their natural environment, So I suspect the mullet do have the cellulase capability, which is an interesting thing,
Yes, I can confirm it. I found a number of studies that point to the presence of cellulase in their digestive tract.
Yeah, so maybe you guys can hook up with some of the fish pond folks and do some trials or whatever. Maybe even the nursery stage. There's interest in the nursery component of it. Maybe that would be a good nursery diet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially for feed stuff for when you're at nauplii stage for like shrimp and they have a very small mouth diameter, right? So you have to feed stuff of that particular size. So I'm working with one very small species for ornamental fish that's used as a feedstock for baby, like right after hatching.
Artemia? You mean Artemia?
Well, Artemia is one, but I can't produce Artemia locally. So this is a species that, like Daphnia or other species of
I see.
water lice and things that will eat this plant structure, because they're herbivores and they gain nutritional benefit from it, and then you feed that to the Napoli eyes.
Cool. Cool.
It's gut loading. It's gut loading of like what you would do with Artemia.
Right. Yeah. Enrichment, they call that. Yeah.
Enrichment.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you. Excellent presentation.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we've got about a few more minutes here. Hey, Anthony Strowski.
Yeah.
Hey, go
I have a
ahead, please.
question. I was trying to figure out how to put a question in there, but I do have a question if you would let me.
Go ahead.
I mean, great. Okay, great. Thank you for the presentation. I mean, to follow up on Fred's economics question on there, do you have any data on the volumes of the types of ingredients that could be potentially available as ingredients for the animals, like and even the fish waste processing, if that is being done here? I've been away for a while, but now back to Hawaii. Any of the volumes to actually help may potentially support one of the lacks that we have here is importing feeds, and we actually have a demonstration feed mill on Hilo. Do you have any information on the volumes of these potential alternative ingredients that can be used to support either an aquaculture industry here or even a cattle or chicken industry that we've lost in the previous years?
Yes, thank you, Anthony. Wait, are you with Diamond Head's operation?
No, I used to be an Oceanic employee there. I was president there as well, but now I'm on my own doing things in China and India.
Oh, okay. To answer your question, thank you. We did take a look at that initially, like how much production can we do locally? So the numbers that I got from our producer was that they produce 5 days a week at 1 ton of hydrated soybean. So for every ton of tofu that they produce, they're also producing 1 ton of soy dregs, or okara is another word for it. So we can do the conversion in 2 days. So sorry about that. This is come on. Oh well, it's not good. It's doing my face. Yeah. Sorry about the blur. I could try it. This I started on Monday. This is like 1 jar full, so a half-gallon jar. And within 2 days, it's thermally active. So you got the 105 to 110 degrees of the conversion for the material in here generating heat. And it takes us approximately 2 days to get to the point where we harvest the material. But this sample here is 2 months old, and the process is continuing, and it's concentrating into a smaller form, same volume initially. So
did you do a comparative analysis of the different types of potential, like papaya waste or black soldier fly larvae that are here? And if so, is that available? I will tell you the reason why I'm asking, because Chen-Sen Lee and I are going to be doing a feed mill workshop or stakeholders meeting probably in July. And so we're trying to gather this information and get people involved in it. So I'm just wondering, do you have that information, that kind of information available? And is that available, published anywhere?
So when I looked at the data, of course, we've got industry production numbers, right? That's collected by the state. And that's
not anymore. It was back in 2010, I think was the last time that they collected that data.
That's right? The last time? I thought there was a 2020 report out there. I'll go look on the state's website, but I thought I found some for like coffee production, for avocado production. Maybe it was for exported crops. I'm not sure what I looked at now that I think about it. But it could, yeah. In either case, it's out of date by at least 4 years.
Yes.
And so the kind of products that we're looking at are like papaya skin, papaya seed. I'm really intrigued by avocado pit and kukui pit. So kukui production. Ulu is another big one for us. So I know there's a cooperative on the Big Island, the Ulu initiative. I've still yet to hear back from them, but I don't know if they're collecting data as far as like how much volume is being produced. but
Mhm.
I know that all these organisms can be affected by the microorganism that we're utilizing. What the results are, I haven't done yet. I'm still working through the compositional analysis of the product. So yeah, I don't have that data available, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll check on the website too as well. All right. Okay, thank you. There's other questions, so I'll shut up.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Jenica, did you want to try to ask one of your questions briefly? I think maybe will be the last one. Or did she sign up?
Hey, I don't know if I can really make it brief, but yeah, I just wanted to hear more about your process and the different types of stuff that you've tried it on and what you've ended up with, because we do some similar work. Yeah. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice. We're looking for collaborations or collaborative partners. Which part?
Ame, I put your email address in the chat for everyone to
yes,
contact
yeah.
you. I'm sure that's okay, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, great.
Perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Anthony, thank you for the great question on, whether there is knowledge about how much kind of local ingredients are available for feed. I was wondering if Mike or Ryan might be able to provide any insight on that. Perhaps I don't see Ryan on anymore, but Mike, are you still there?
Looks like he's there, but
Yeah.
Did not
We'll
answer.
try to follow up with that. That's such a great question, Anthony. Thank you.
All right, okay. I go by Tony, by the way. I got to change my
Oh,
name.
sorry.
There's another Anthony Mel, and we always get confused. So
Okay.
you can call me Tony. Everybody knows me by Tony. Thanks.
Sorry, Jenica, could you repeat your question?
sure. So for example, like we grow limu, and we
Mhm.
are trying to find different things to use our limu for besides just direct consumption. So like animal feed, stuff like that. And we've been working on fermenting it and trying to figure out that process. So for example, like I just love to understand kind of how you're doing it, just so we can always learn. I've had a big interest in creating fertilizer as well. So yeah, I just wanted to actually get your email address was my specific question, so I could follow up with you. But if you have a moment to explain any of it, that's great.
So I can't go into depth on the specific process because we are investigating patent potential, but what I can say is there are a number of local limu species that we've worked with in order to derive some of the base products before conversion. And so yeah, we're working to refine our process and then look at the availability and the difficulty of harvesting these products locally. So like I work with a lot of Gracilaria species, so Ogo. I find a lot of potential in them. Of course, Limo Kohu is another one that we've succeeded with. I haven't gotten much success off of sea lettuce. We're hoping to maybe get some samples of like kelp that we could maybe work with, but I don't know. I hope that helps a little. I'm sorry I can't go into the specific process and the microorganisms with you.
Oh yeah, understood. No worries. But if you don't mind, maybe I'll reach out because there's a few other things that beyond the limu that I'd love to talk to you about.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, right on. Well, I think maybe we'll call it a day today. Thank you very much, Ame, for the talk and for all the questions. And we'll see everybody next time.
Thanks,
Right on.
everyone.
Thank you.
Mahalo,
Aloha.
Ame. Aloha.
Bye.
Where is it? Trying to find the record. Ah, no.